Hello, everybody, and welcome to. I'd like to think this is going to be the first episode of Ingredients for Adventure. Um, I'll explain that in a second. I'm Freebie Wits, and this is my good friend, Sai. Sai, why don't you say hello to everybody?
Usually because I like making fun of you.
Ladies and gentlemen, I assure you we are actually friends in real life, and we
Very
do.
good friends.
Yes. Anyway, so that comment I made before about me saying this might be the first episode, I'm not sure, is because we did pre-record another episode before, and unlike the recipe for adventure thing we do, there's no continuity in ingredients for adventure, so we can release them as we will. And of course, if there's a Christmas episode specifically, then we can release it then and such like that. But otherwise, we don't have any specific this has to be played in this order thing. It's very off the cuff.
Yep, just do what we want when we want.
So, Ingredients for Adventure in my head is a bit of a variety show. We still talk about random stuff together, as long as it's D&D related, or tabletop RPG related, or in the future, if people really want it, we can just talk about video games, or card games, or other tabletop stuff that have nothing to do with role-playing. But at the moment, we're happy with role-playing stuff. And today, I think, and this is a very silly topic, Sai and I are going to make the worst characters. Now, what I mean by that is, if you're a dungeon master and you see a person come up with this character sheet, it is your duty, no, obligation, no, passionate pleasure to rip up that character sheet if you see it in front of you. So, Sai.
There's two directions. Immediately, my mind's like, which direction do you mean by this, or do you mean both directions?
For all intents and purposes, this is going to go on YouTube, so we are going to keep it PG, so we can't go too far. I suppose there are some.
To be fair, I wasn't thinking that direction. Okay, that's a third direction.
Okay, which is two direct. Okay, so, for all intents and purposes, we are going to create 3 different DMs, okay? So there's going to be... I'm not very good at drawing straight lines. Matching, because it's Pride Month day we're doing this. So we're going to have 3 different DMs, right? Okay, so we're going to have a DM that is running things by module. So it's a bit strict there. We're going to have a beginner DM who may not know better, and I'm going to misspell beginner on purpose. And then we're going to have a more experienced veteran DM. Even though I've been role-playing for quite a while as a DM, and I like to think my improv levels are pretty decent, I find it difficult to call myself a veteran DM. I know enough to talk about it. If anybody's a veteran DM, I would like to think that Sai meets that criteria. But
it's hard to call yourself a veteran. Like, I would say that by this point you're probably in the veteran tier as well.
Oh, thank you, mate.
Yeah, but it's hard to call yourself a veteran without being very, very humble.
Well, experience, then, I suppose, is the word.
Yeah.
Like, we're both experienced DMs in our own specific ways. Like, we specialize in different things, and like we come to each other for different reasons. So let's start with the module DM. Like,
yeah.
Do we also want to put like another limitation on ourselves, like the worst character? Because I think it'd be easier this way, actually, or at least provide more.
First, we should define what the worst is. Define what the worst is, because on one end we have the Mary Sue.
Yeah. That's kind of what I was thinking.
You're thinking kind of Mary Sue, because on my end I was thinking a character where it's like the DM just stares at it and is like, what kind of character are you playing? This is just...
Actually, yeah, no, because like obviously, like the module player, the beginner, and the vet, and I'm not putting those in order and based on experience. This has nothing to do with experience.
Yeah.
We could, in theory, have the same character for all 3, in that oh, I created this level 99 D&D character with homebrew stuff. That'll be declined at every table. Um, let's bring it down.
Beginner DMs might let that through, not realizing
It's that
why.
bad, yeah. Okay,
Yeah.
so how about the worst thing that is just denied? Like, if they took it one step backwards, like the DM would at least consider things before tearing up the character sheet, or at least before like saying, okay, if you make heavy changes, you will let him in. We're one step beyond that. So
Hmm.
just at the point of no, what do you call it? Forgiveness, no repair. So like,
Yeah.
so that's my idea. So it could be a mechanical thing, it could be backstory thing, it could be like a mix of everything. So what are we looking at for a module? Like, is there any module that's close to your heart that you think most people
Uh,
go, like both beginner and veterans like to run?
uh, like if I could think of a module that's close to my heart, that's nice and short. For Dungeons and Dragons Fifth Edition, there is Dragon Heist. What a deep Dragon Heist.
I don't know too much about Dragon Heist. I know what Waterdeep is. It's basically
Yeah.
D&D Mafia City, right?
It does have gangs and stuff involved. Yeah. The general idea behind What a Deep Dragon Heist is your first thought immediately is like, what kind of dragon? Red, blue? No, the actual joke here is that in Waterdeep, a gold coin is stamped with a dragon, so it is tentatively referred to as a dragon.
Oh, okay. So,
So it's a heist for a lot of gold,
okay. So,
but it's a small adventure. But its fun gimmick is that there are four different main bad guys,
yeah.
and the DM can pick when they start the campaign which bad guy they kind of want to like lean towards. So you have, say, the Castellantas, who are a noble family that sold, uh, that kind of made some deals with some devils, and
Oh,
now need a lot of money to fix the situation.
yeah.
Um, there is the Wizard Manchun, who is leader of the Zentarum, a criminal gang, very very prominent criminal like organization from down south,
Mm-hmm.
who's basically he's getting involved because he wants money naturally.
Mm-hmm.
There is a drow pirate captain kind of like gang pirate type leader. I believe his name is Jarlax, and naturally once again it's like, oh hell, there's a hell of a lot of money involved in here. Sure, I want that. And finally, there is Xanathar, the crazy beholder that lives underneath the city. He runs a gang that is the city's main gang, and well, he wants it because he wants it. But yeah, so even though you've run this module once before, you can easily pick it up again with a new group and just run it with a new villain.
Hmm. Okay, it sounds very modular that way. So,
Yeah,
all right. So okay, what level do the players usually start at?
it's a level 1 to 5 campaign, so nice and short and easy to get into.
Okay, so obviously, all right, we're gonna say this person, this terrible character, plays within that rule specifically. Is this a fifth edition game?
Yes.
Okay, it is fifth edition. Okay. Does the module specify starting characters? Any rules or regulations?
No, it doesn't really go anything too deep into like restrictions on what type of your characters.
It
Um,
is a pre-established setting,
it
though.
does. Yeah, it is set in Waterdeep, which is on the Sword Coast,
Ah, okay.
which
Sword.
is the Forgotten Realms.
So we have our
So very very
usual
famous thing.
usual menagerie of races. So Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
If you're familiar with Baldur's Gate 3, Baldur's Gate is a short trip away from Waterdeep.
Mm. In fact, I'm pretty
So,
sure one of the characters that you can recruit is literally from Waterdeep. It's in his name and everything. Gale of Waterdeep.
yes, Gale is from Waterdeep. So, yeah, Waterdeep is the capital. So, it's the biggest city of them all.
So okay, so worst kind of character. Do do we want like? Here's the tough bit. Like, we can have a
Yeah,
character who's essentially part of the mob, so they're gonna backstab the players immediately. I feel like
immediately. Yep.
yeah. So that's
And
obviously
the
a
thing,
rogue. Yeah.
so, of note, of particular, is two of the bad guys, or um, you can join factions within the module.
Yeah.
And so you can actually join Xanathar's guild, though it's very much not recommended. But of particular note, Jarlax, the Drow pirate,
Yeah.
it's deliberately noted that he will attempt to recruit anyone who is Drow.
Oh.
So, if someone's aware of that and like picks Drow deliberately as their starting race, so they can attempt to befriend one of the major bad guys right from the start.
Very metagamey.
Yeah, because the thing is, even if you have a main villain, every one of the villains do have a short part that they play in the story, regardless.
Hmm.
And so, by picking to play as Drow from the get go, you have a sort of potential in with one of the major baddies. If he is the big bad of the actual story, maybe you've just screwed over your party by basically giving him access to the party with ease. On the other hand, if he's not the major bad guy, then you've basically just given yourself access to the power of another major villain to help yourself out. Like, either way, you are definitely affecting the story on a large scale. If you did it by complete accident, sure, whatever. But
Okay.
if someone knew about that and picked Drow from the start
There
for that
is
particular benefit,
yeah, and like there's like, oh, I wanna be the sneaky guy who backstabs
yeah,
all my friends. Yeah, no, I can definitely see that as like if I was a DM and I heard someone say, I want to backstab all my friends, I'd be like, no, that's not the game for this. We're supposed
yeah,
to be like working together. This is a group activity.
yeah,
Like Bob over there spent like an hour on his character and he's really invested. He's not gonna like it if he gets backstabbed this way.
yeah. Some D&D groups enjoy that sort of like party dynamic and all that, but usually where me and you are from, we prefer more cooperative. It's fine to have inter-party conflict as long as it's understood and agreed upon beforehand.
Oh yeah.
Like having characters who rub against each other, and
Makes sense within the context of the
yeah,
story. So
that's,
so
yeah,
okay. So if you were running this game, let's start from the beginning. Let's pretend for all intents and purposes, Sai, you are the DM. You're running this game.
yep,
Sai, I've got an
mm-hmm,
idea for a character for your campaign. So he starts at level 1. He's a
yeah,
rogue, so he's very sneaky, very backstabby. And
yep. Vanna
I
Backstabber, right?
yeah,
Yeah,
and I made him a drow on purpose so that he'll be friends with one of the BBGs. And then using those connections, I want to backstab the rest of the party. What do you
yeah. No,
say?
I'd be like, I'd roll up a newspaper and all your character sheet and bop you on the nose.
Beautiful. What do we call this drow rogue?
Mmm. Uh,
What's the
how about
worst
like
name? Oh,
Drac Backstabbo?
Drac Backstabbo. Oh god.
You Backstabbo has particular connotations with you.
It does. It does. I'll It's I'm getting flashbacks to Heroes of West North. It's a fun game, folks. Let's move on.
Yep.
All right, so the beginning's going to be a bit harder because, as you've mentioned, like
Yeah.
people can get away with a lot against the beginning because they just don't know better. Like when I said
Yeah.
level 99 character, what is the breaking point? Like back when you were first starting,
Mm-hmm.
like I'm assuming like beyond like X-rated stuff, you'd probably let anything in because once again you didn't know better. At what point do you think would be your limit? Because that's a tough one for me.
In terms of like character power,
Yeah, or like just mechanics or story backgrounds and stuff like that. Like
yeah,
I think that we all come into D&D with some expectations. Like for me, my expectations were a bit open, but I came into it expecting like Lord of the Rings or like Avatar: The Last Airbender, where everybody's like part of the group, or even that Dexter's Laboratory episode. That was actually my first experience on knowing what tabletop role playing was, and I
I
loved
think as
that episode.
yeah, I think as a beginner, the big alarm bell should be like okay, it's not particularly alarm bell, but like the first sign of I should pay attention if someone brings you a character sheet, level one character, and they tell you that they've got their whole build planned out already.
I don't know about that because that just tells me they're really invested in the progression of the
Well,
character.
as I said, that itself is not the oh that is the alarm bells. That's the first tip, right?
Hmm. So they have like
Because
level 1 to 20 sort of thing.
see, like they have already planned out their character. Like a plan out for a character, great, fine. But when you're a beginner and someone's like, "Yep, I've already planned out everything about my character," it's like, okay, you've spent some time, you're invested, you know what you want, you know what you're doing, and it's like, okay, you don't necessarily know what the campaign's going to be like yet,
Oh,
but you're already planning. Like,
oh. I
yeah,
think
it's
I
like you're already
figured it.
planning so much. Yeah,
I think I figured out the one thing that beginners like, no matter how naive they can get,
yeah,
something that explicitly doesn't match the genre or tone. So imagine
yeah,
you're a beginner, you decide to start simple. You make a fantasy esque world. It's very black and white, evil undead hordes, and the players are like heroes of light and adventure. And the guy who rocks up puts this in front of you. I want you to describe what you're seeing.
At the moment, I see what looks like a helmet with maybe like a speech bubble popping out of it, or is that like meant to represent like a turtle, maybe? Oh, it's having a hard time. Oh, I'm seeing that looks like a space marine. Oh dear. Yeah, that's starting to look more and more like a good old space marine. To be fair, if it's very D&Dified, like as an artificer or something, I think having that as like a character concept, great. Like be the dude who uses ranged combat with like heavy armor. That's fine. I once tried to play a character like that who was a kobold,
Sure,
but
but like
yeah,
explicitly a sci-fi
like
character.
yeah, like where it's like you're starting to go really against the genre, really against stuff. Also, as a beginner, like someone going really against the genre is pretty bad. I'd also kind of be worried about someone who just says they want to play a necromancer.
Oh, okay, okay. Because like that's something
Or
that's very difficult for like just
because
any.
that can get real, it can get really out of hand very easily. And if you're a beginner, you're not going to be able to deal with the situation when all of a sudden one party member might be able to just win every fight by himself,
Mm-mm-mm.
invalidating other people there, and really kind of
Like,
just changing everything.
as experienced players, we know people who do summons can really mess with turn economy. I think the idea of like being an edgy vampire is the thing that will set off their bells already. But
Yeah,
I mean, I guess I was pretty edgy back in the day as well in terms of taste as a teenager.
edgy is fine.
Mm-mm.
Like as a beginner, what you need to watch out for is like stuff that just really clashes with your setting,
Yes, so
and stuff that can get out of hand. Like um in D&D 5th edition, summoning is really potent. You can get a lot of allies, get pretty bad. Necromancers in particular, necromancy is often very much like a more like evil coated kind of class to begin with. So already that might raise alarm bells if you want a story with heroes and saving
yeah.
the world.
So like
But also
explicit, like the alignment
having
explicitly going against what you want.
yeah,
Yeah.
but like um, we played in Curse of Strahd together, and you saw like if my character Nathalias really went ham, just how much power I could actually wield if I just had like 50 zombies and skeletons.
Mm-mm-mm. Like I remember giving your character for my campaign a bunch of like skeletons and
Yeah,
you use them to great effect. So basically the idea is
yeah,
something that goes against the moral center of the party, what's intended, and something that goes against the setting completely would ring alarm bells in a beginner. Um what would we call this necromantic space marine that we've got here who can fly?
cool. Um, hmm. How about Bruce the Destroyer-nator?
Bruce the Destroyanator. Beautiful.
It's like I know we built it like I know you drew the Space Marine as like a very like very un D&D kind of like sci-fi thing, but part of me now wants to actually make a very much like artificer that builds himself like a suit of armor like that, like very much like wood and like metal plating, like more like very
I'm
like
pretty sh-
fantasy aesthetic,
I'm
but
pretty sure the
but
Iron
kind of
Man build is possible with Artificer. I'm pretty
well the
sure.
artificer, yeah the artificer armor, their specialty is building a suit of armor,
Mm-mm-mm-mm. Yeah, no,
and
I
so
we could totally
building
do
like your
that.
full power armor, yeah,
Oh, that would be cool.
but yeah, like it's cool because you can lean into like heavy armor and do cool things with that, or you can build a suit of light armor and like make it more for like stealth suit type stuff.
I have questions about
So it's cool.
Artificer, but I will save them for after the episode because I don't want to get bogged down here. So,
Mm-hmm.
veteran. So, unlike the module and the beginner, I feel the veteran is somewhere in between the beginner and the module in terms of how finely tuned their BS meter is. In that, while the module can be like very strict, I feel the vet, because they're so experienced, they can sort of hear a BS thing and go, I can adjust things or I can suggest something slightly different while keeping in the spirit of, well, this sort of
Yeah,
thing. Like, we literally just had you go, I want to play an artificer. Something a beginner may not be too aware of or too experienced enough or confident enough to throw in, right? So,
yeah.
I suppose as a veteran, where do you draw the line, like in terms of like characters and such like that?
So one thing I kind of look out for in particular is the choice of race,
Mm-mm.
because certain races are really good.
Mm-mm.
Like the Aarakocra, who can fly and shoot arrows, like depending on the type of campaign, that is just supremely powerful.
Jonathan.
Yeah. Likewise, if someone said, I want to play a UNT, the base UNT is got like magic resistance. And it's like, okay. It's like character flavor. It's like, but I suppose the thing is, when you realize that their build is more about what they get out of it over like the flavor that they wanted to aim for.
Oh, I see what you're getting at. Yeah, no, that's a very good distinction to put it at. Um,
Because yeah, like playing UNT, like they look fairly human. If you wanted to play a mage who uses poison, you don't have to be UNT for that.
no, no.
But but it's like when you start to see races picked because the race is really good compared to
The
picked because
flavor.
that's what you yeah. It's
But
like sometimes you want to play a particular race just because you've never done it before,
yeah,
and that's fine. It's like it starts to become like why something is played
yeah.
rather than
Hmm. So I just realized that we've done like levels thing across the board. Um, and we
mhm.
haven't done one for the veteran yet, but I think, and correct me if I'm wrong here, I think a lot of people later on prefer starting at level 3 because that's where all the
level.
subclasses and stuff are.
As of level 3, everyone has their subclass,
Yeah.
and that helps kind of give them that like flavor that they want from their character. Because sometimes like for example, you want to play a ninja,
Yeah.
but if you start as level 1, you won't really be able to get too much of that flavor out of it.
Mm-mm-mm.
But like for
You'll
example,
be a
you want
ninja
to
in
be a
training.
ninja. Yeah, it's like sometimes you just I want to be the ninja. For example, like you pick ninja and you want to be you're going monk for shadow monk to be the shadow ninja.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's like
Level 1 and 2 of monk doesn't really give as much of the
ninja
ninja as you
flavor.
might want.
Literally, any specific kind of spellcaster. I want to be the illusionist. I mean, you can
Yeah,
spell illusionist spells, sure, but like, you won't be an
yeah,
illusionist mage per se.
not until level 2.
Yeah, their like most D&D characters' real mechanical identity come into play at level 3 or so. Most part. Like, the only
Some
one at,
level
yeah.
1, some level 2, but everyone by 3,
Absolutely. So,
unless you multi-class.
unless you multi-class.
But
So,
but if
so,
you multi-class, that is your identity.
mm, mm. So, we've determined that it has something to do with their race. Uh,
Like race is usually a really good like, huh, you've picked that race, and it's like I don't like the nothing about it like the race of choice is like really makes sense. It's like, yeah, I want to play an archer, cool. So I'm gonna be an Aarakocra. It's like, okay, immediate. Like now, I will say I have played a campaign with an Aarakocra who was an archer.
mm-hmm.
It was actually in Waterdeep Dragon Heist. And
Hmm.
for that one, I allowed it for a couple of really good reasons.
Oh.
So the module actually kind of helped balance it
Oh.
because the guards of Waterdeep, there are ones who fly around the city on like
Oh.
Griffin back.
Oh, that's cool.
So they patrol the skies.
Mm-mm-mm.
Okay, and also a good chunk of the adventure will involve potentially going to the sewers or underground in certain sections or
So it
inside
kind of cuts
buildings.
off their main strength.
Yeah, and
But
so just because someone says they want to play something crazy like an Aarakocra Archer doesn't mean it's automatically bad. And
okay.
there are times where you will be like, sure, you are an Aarakocra Archer, you fly above, you get to have your fun and like fight safely for a couple of times.
Sure, sure.
But other times, because something important to note is you never want to punish someone for their choices
For
per
what they
se.
want to do. Yeah, no, I get what you're getting
Yeah,
at. So
yeah,
we're going off tangent a bit, and it is
yeah.
good insight. But like, what would make you say flat no to a player? So it's partially the race, partially
hmm
multi-class. So it feels like it's a very nuanced answer, and I guess that's part of being a veteran.
yeah,
Like, you can see the
yeah.
nuance in
Being a veteran
everything.
is like, yeah, you need to suss out stuff. Like, if someone came up to me with a character that's level 3 and I see that they have levels of Sorcerer and Warlock,
Yeah.
I would immediately be like, okay, you want T-Sorlock, huh?
Something's going on
Don't know
here.
how I feel about that. Yeah, because Sorcerer Warlock can lead into something that people refer to as the coffee lock,
I've heard of
which is a
this.
very powerful, combination. And so, like, as you spend time, you'll generally hear like certain classes are weaker than others. Like Ranger is considered generally on the weaker side.
Oh, poor Rangers.
Like, yeah, Rangers get shafted a bit, but it's like sometimes you'll hear like certain combinations are just really, really good.
Mm-mm.
Like, Gloomstalker Ranger plus Assassin is amazing. So it's like, okay. And some are like the Hexblade Paladin
Mm-mm-mm.
because they only need charisma. So they get very powerful very fast with very little downside. And so it's like looking like in like multi-classing, ironically, like early multi-classing
And because,
is like
right, and
and if you
because you
see the
start at
sides at like
level 3, generally speaking.
3,
Whoa, whoa,
they
hang
can
on.
they start.
I just realized. If I came up to you with the character
Yeah.
sheet, level 3
Mhm.
character sheet, and you told everyone, we're playing a level 3 campaign, guys, and I came up to you with a character sheet with 3 different levels and like 3 different classes, you'd at least raise an eyebrow, right?
Yeah, because it's like, what are you aiming for?
What do you do? Like, even if it
Because
was like
yeah,
even if it was like fighter, barbarian, monk, you'd be like, ooh, wait, what is this supposed to be?
yeah, because it feels like you're trying to invest into something,
Like,
like very invest.
oh, I just realized on the flip side of things, it could be
Yeah,
something that completely contradicts itself. So, like barbarian wizard, for example, right? At which point you might tone it down, not because you think it's going to ruin the game, but because it's going to ruin the fun for the player because they're going to feel
yeah,
underpowered.
yeah,
That might be
yeah.
another reason to like.
Yeah, sometimes you gotta be like, hey, now there are combinations that can work in wondrous ways. I have played a monk wizard paladin,
Oh, that's interesting. And mechanically, it can
and
work and stuff like that.
yeah, but it's like that's such a weird combination.
You
Most of the time, you look at them and be like, what are you trying?
yeah.
What are
So
you trying to do?
you want your players to have a good time, and sometimes that means
Yeah,
saying no to save them from themselves. So
yeah.
I
Like
I
if like for a beginner, for example, if a character came up to you like who's a fighter and he has like 11 strength and like 10 dexterity, sometimes it might be good to be like, hey, you might want an actual like attacking stat
yeah.
so that you can actually hit things.
Okay, I think like for veteran, like that's a really
Hmm.
interesting breakaway from the module and beginner because like module
Yeah,
you want something that works in the module. Beginner you want something you can handle. Veteran you turn down the player who may not be powerful enough or interesting enough or fun enough to play. That's very interesting. I think that's our limit. I think that's where the veteran would say no. I I, I think we found it. So what do we call this little chimera of a character?
mm.
Oh, hang on, I'm gonna put something on his back.
Aarakocra, you want.
He's got an axe on his back as well. He's got spell casting. He's got a lion's tail. He's got a bow. He's a bit of everything.
Well, since he's a bird snake, Sakor
Sa
with two S's.
Sakar. All right, I think we found the 3 characters that 3 different dungeon masters would say no to. For the module DM, doing Waterdeep Heist, they would say no to Drakback Stabbo. To the beginner who's doing a black and white fantasy campaign, he would say no to Bruce the Destroyer-nator. And for the veteran who wants everyone to have a good time starting at level 3, he would, at the very least, raise an eyebrow for the triple multi-class, multi-racial Sakor. I think we're in agreement there.
Veterans can like adjust and play on the fly, but you should still definitely be like, okay, I gotta have a look at this. I have to work out if this is right for this campaign.
Right? Alright everybody, I'm Freebie Wits, and that's this specific ingredient for adventure. And I hope you like, comment, and subscribe. Bye-bye.
Ciao.